Yo guys, what's going on today? It's your boy KXVI. Today I'm going to be teaching you how to make some soulful, crazy samples for some people like Drake, Rick Ross, Meek Mill, Kanye West, anybody like that. Some super crazy soul vibes. This sample's from my new Sacrifices Volume 7 loop kit. 33 crazy R&B and soul loops. If you want loops for people like Drake, Meek Mill, Tory Lanez, Bryson Tiller, anybody like that, this is definitely the loop kit you want. You can get it with my code KXVI30, loopstash.com. It'll give you 30% off. Use that, don't forget about that. But this loop you can download for free. Look in the description for that as well. Without further ado, let's play the finished loop. So, super crazy stuff. It sounds just like an old soul sample. Besides some stuff that I played with my Prophet, all of it is VSTs. There's no samples, nothing like that. So, before we get into it, I'm gonna just tell you my thought process for samples like this. Sometimes these samples can seem kind of intimidating just because there's so many layers, there's so much stuff going on, but you're kind of trying to recreate like a whole old 70s song. So it needs to have all the elements that were there, like a lead vocal, some drum breaks, a bass, horns, strings, chords, everything like that. If you break it down, it's really just a simple idea with a bunch of layers on it to bring it to that next level. And processing, that helps a lot too. So the first thing that I started with, kind of the main idea of this sample, are these strings right here. And this is what the MIDI looks like and sounds like. My thought process behind the main string melody here is it's just a C to an F, which is a chord progression I talk about all the time. It's just one minor chord, pitch it up 5 to the next minor chord. So this chord would be C minor up to F minor, and then these are just little transition notes that I heard in my head. And the reason that cuts off is because I did a second section right here, run up, following every note of the scale, but you just go up to the note that you want to hit next, but stay in the scale running up. So right here it's just triplets going up the scale that we're in, C minor. If you're trying to learn how to play keys or just theory, I recommend C minor and A minor. You can always build an idea in that key and then transpose it, and you can get a whole different vibe from there. But I make everything in those keys. And after that I moved on to a bass line, and I just grabbed this free bass from Ample, the Ample Bass P. I use this one a lot, and I drew in this pattern right here. Super simple. As you can see right here, there's this little bounce section, but for the most part, besides that and this little transition note to the end, you're really just going from that C to F. You're just going up 5 from the root note. From there, I added this drum break, which in Logic, you can search in the side right here, Motown, and if you click the Motown Revisited, it'll give you a whole drum kit of like old 70s Motown kind of stuff, and that's what I build my drum breaks out of whenever I make them from scratch. This is what the MIDI looks like for that. That's just straight out of the box, like Logic stock sounds. That shit is crazy. So layer a bunch of strings, live bass line is essential. A drum break can be dope for samples like this, but it's not necessary if you don't want to kind of clutter space that someone else could put drums on. But yeah, that's pretty much the main idea. The next kind of main sound that I added was this trumpet right here, and I played this melody out on my keyboard. As you can see right here, C. This time I'm going down an octave, but I'm still going to that same note. And then all these notes are just transition notes that are part of the chords. Those will always work, like I said before. Alright, now this next sound came from my Prophet keyboard. It's a little synth lead thing, and this thing just like completely took it to a new level, I feel like. What I did was kind of like a little run up on the keyboard to the note that I wanted to play, and then I just played a C and an F, but this is what it sounds like. And how I got that little bendy sound is I just played with the pitch wheel on my keyboard. Yeah, just add some movement to it. So you can experiment with that too on synth leads. Now this next section, which helps fill out a lot of the sample, is this choir from East West. If you couldn't tell already, I highly recommend buying the East West Composer Cloud. It's $30 a month and it's got all these crazy sounds in it. After I had all that, I really just needed a lead vocal to kind of finish 90% of this sample. And for that, I went into East West. I went into their solo phrases library and I played this pattern. It's not over the top crazy where it's going to be taking up too much room for the artist to rap or sing on. So after I had that, most of it was just arranging and then adding like little ear candy effects. And the first effect that I added for that was just this arp hit. I just arpeggiated on the Prophet keyboard the C minor chord that I was playing, and I added this H delay preset on it, ping pong preset. Of course, you already know I had to add the chimes. Nothing new there, you gotta do that in every soul sample. And then we go into the second section right here where I just kind of took out a bunch of the elements. I added this little run-up section. I just took the string run-up and the synth run-up to transition into the second switch up, which starts off with this whirly right here. So it's following the same exact chords. I just copied the chords from the choir actually. I bounced it to audio again, and then I chopped it up and reversed it so that the chords are staying in the same position. I added a second lead from my Prophet, just the same notes that are in the C minor scale, just kind of freestyled a little bit, and this is what I came up with. It's pretty simple, but it's just got that sound to it. First thing I do, come in here, Decimort 2, grab some RC20, the Magnitude Transition 1 preset is sauce for vocals, leads, anything like that. And then I just threw on this Valhalla reverb, pretty heavy, just to kind of wash it out. The last element that I added for this section was this bass Square 1 preset from my Analog Lab Bank, and this is what that sounds like. Main idea again is just C to F with some transition notes. I just thought that section would be like a super dope outro or bridge kind of section. But after that, all I did, bounced everything out to audio, stemmed it out right here, and as you can see, 2-bar spaces in between each one, just so that if there's reverb, it doesn't bleed over into the next sound. So after all that, I bounced it down into one audio file and I pitched it up 2 semitones. I appreciate it if you made it to the end of this video. I know this one was kind of a long one, but I hope that I gave you all some valuable information and I tried to go into more depth than I normally do. Speaking of in-depth tutorials, if you want some exclusive, not posted on YouTube, unedited, you can see every detail of my process. You should check out the link down below to my Patreon, starting at $10 a month. We got a Discord community, exclusive tutorials, early access to my YouTube videos, free sounds, one-on-one consultations, Zoom group calls, stuff like that. If you're interested in that at all, just check it out. Link is in the description. If you want more samples like this, don't forget to check out my Sacrifices Volume 3 kit. Appreciate all of your guys' support. Let's try to get to 1,000 subscribers. And with that, I'll catch you in the next one. Peace.